Hi, good evening. My name is Dennis Finley, and I'm 72 years old, and I live in upstate New York, a few hours north of New York City. I am a Vietnam veteran. I served in an area about 80 miles north of Saigon on the Cambodian border. The name of the location in Phuc Long Province was Song Bay. I've been married to 53 years. I have 2 grown children. I have 2 grandchildren, and life is not so bad. When I returned from Vietnam in January of 1969, the first week I was home, I began to notice that something was wrong. I had, got back together with my wife, and our daughter was 1.5 years old at the time. And within a week's time, I had all my friends come over to my house, all my buddies that I partied with, and I just felt that something was wrong, but it wasn't anything that I could explain. I just felt kind of distant and like I really couldn't connect with my wife and my daughter to some extent, and with my friends. I just felt that something was missing and I couldn't explain it. And it was very troubling, and as a result, it kind of made me fearful of my surroundings. It was like I just couldn't feel at home. And I will say that I approached this treatment with very great apprehension, because I felt as though I was taking a big risk on my mind and my mental health. And as much as I was looking forward and hoping for immediate results, it was still very hard for me to submit to that kind of treatment and take this chance, this risk, so to speak. When I woke up from the treatment, I was being asked by a nurse how I felt, and I couldn't quite explain how I felt. I knew something that had happened to me, but I felt that I was kind of holding back and not allowing this, the effects of this injection to take effect. And as I spoke with the nurse further, I remember telling her, I'm afraid to let go. And I began to cry. I think what was going on is that for all those years, from January of 1969 until November of 2019, it's a long time, 60 years. And I had become accustomed to coping and dealing with life in one way, with whatever shortcomings I felt mentally. So it was very, very hard for me to get used to this new feeling, this effect of this treatment. But it did definitely impact me, and I knew something was going on. And it took me a few days, especially the next week once I was home, to begin to relax and let the effects of this treatment run its course. There were a couple of more instances over the next 4 or 5 days where I was just standing in silence in my kitchen looking out the window, and I would begin weeping again. The tears were just rolling down my face, and if I could explain what that really was, it was like this feeling of relaxation that was starting to come over me, and the tears represented this very intense sense of gratitude I had for this feeling that was coming back to me, that had left me, 60 years earlier when I was in combat. I just didn't know how to explain it. If you were in the armed forces and you served in a foreign theater, and it was a combat theater, and you felt that at some point during your tour your life was very, very threatened like mine was, there's I think a level of fear that you reach where you can't think straight, you can't function. It's like your mind and your soul has been taken to a level of fear where that fear is never supposed to enter into your feelings and into your mind, because it's the fear of actually dying, of losing your life. Having been in that circumstance many times during my tour in Vietnam, I remember feeling that there was something that had put me in this state of mind all the time, where I was always very apprehensive and very vigilant of my surroundings, and that I somehow had to be prepared to fight for my life at any given moment. And that feeling I expected was just going to go away when I came home, and it didn't. And it changed my life completely. It changed my outlook on things and left me feeling unsure of who I was and whether my life really had any purpose. It was like a part of my mind had just gone into a dark place, and there was a door on that place, and I couldn't open that door and get back into that part of my mind. So for all of those years of my life, up until I got this Stellate Ganglion Block treatment, I could never open that door. And I can say now, since I got this treatment, and it was, over, it was over 90 days ago, I have learned to relax, and that fear is beginning to leave me, and that state of vigilance that I had been in for these whole 60 years, it's gone. And I didn't expect everything in my life to change the moment I got that injection. I mean, I'm old enough and wise enough to know and understand that everything is a process. So this process has been a good one. I'm getting closer and closer to the fine young man that I was before I went to that war. So I feel that that door to that dark place in my mind has begun to open, and I'm beginning to feel connected in society again, and my life is beginning to feel more purposeful than it had before. I really hope that answers that question. I know all of us have, as veterans, well, we're the only ones that can really understand each other, because we're the only ones that can trust what others share with us. We've been there, we've done it, and well, God bless us all for making the sacrifice, and truly God bless those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Obviously, I wish that when I came home from Vietnam and knew something was troubling me, that the Veterans Administration as a healthcare system understood what I might have been going through and might have been able to help me at an earlier stage in my life, because as a result of not understanding what was wrong with me and trying to be a good person, a good husband to my wife, and a good father to my children, trying to get on with my life and getting my education and following a professional pursuit in my life, somehow I was able to function even though this mental health issue I had was troubling me all the time. But by the time the middle 1980s came around, and I had been home from the war since January of 1969, I think the disorder, which is the key term in PTSD, it's not just post-traumatic stress, it is the disorder, and that is the one setback that all of us who suffer from this disorder have to deal with. It's like not knowing how to function when you reach that, when you're in a circumstance where you're feeling very stressful. The disorder is that you just don't know how to deal with it, and you have to do something. You have to leave that situation, you have to isolate for a while, or you may lose your temper. I'm bringing those things up because I've done all of those things. So I am sorry that by the time the mid-1980s rolled around, I fell into substance abuse and was doing anything I could to help me handle this insane state of mind that I was in. But finally, in the early 1990s, the VA had established post-traumatic stress disorder as a mental health, a certifiable state of mental illness, and I was able to get the help that I needed. I wish I had known what was really wrong with me in January of 1969. I am so sorry that I lost control of my life, and in a way I feel cheated that, again, the fine young man that I was when I went to that war somehow got lost over there. And the person I would have been if I had never served in a combat theater and had never sustained these incredible levels of stress, I might have come home a different person, I might have led a different life, and I undoubtedly would have suffered less. So what do I wish I had known before this procedure? I wish I had known the suffering that I was going to go through and how long it was going to take to find my way back, which in the last 90 days I'm on that road. So I hope you can understand how I feel, and you can rest assured that I am thankful to Dr. Lipov and how hard he obviously has worked to make this treatment a reality. So thank you very much for your time and for listening to me, and I hope that I have answered all these questions thoroughly and properly. Thank you.